Expanding its preventative measures, the United States Postal Inspection Service is cracking down on mail theft across the nation. 23 News reporter Sydney Stoffrigan gets tips and tricks from the Inspection Service on how to keep your mail safe.
As mail robberies rise across the U.S., the United States Postal Inspection Service makes security a top priority. An initiative focused on protecting the nation's mail might be the answer they're looking for.
The more people mail, the more opportunities people have to steal.
The country is facing a mail theft crisis. More than 38,000 cases of theft have been reported in 2023. Project Safe Delivery, a joint effort by the United States Postal Service and Inspection Service, looks to update outdated technology with thief-proof additions.
To combat mail theft by installing these higher security blue collection boxes. These make it harder to break into, and they're already being deployed in high security risk areas, and over 10,000 of these have been deployed since May of this year.
This project will replace more than 49,000 collection box locks with electric mechanisms and install more than 12,000 high-security blue collection boxes. One resident says she's becoming more vigilant when it comes to postal theft.
I am concerned about it, but they seem to be great when I come to the post office. They're absolutely amazing with us. Bringing it inside to the counter, up to the counter, they always have the bins there. It's safer.
USPIS says it's completely safe to continue to mail through collection boxes. If that doesn't feel safe enough, just bring it inside. In the event of a theft, don't wait to report it.
Timely victim reporting is really important so that the sooner this mail is stolen, the sooner we can investigate and try and figure out, who did it and deliver justice to victims.
USPIS recommends paying attention to when mail carriers pick up from the collection boxes. If that time has passed for the day, they say either take your mail inside or wait until it gets closer to the next pickup time.